this is a new channel, so I'm kind of new to so I have done this before on my other channel, Slick What Ifs, but this is my new channel, so yeah. So this is what if issei had trained before he got the dragon boosting gear. The dragon gear. So the way this is gonna work is, hold on a second guys. Alright, I'm back. So in this version, issei, from a little kid, he always wanted to train. He liked training because it was fun. Who wouldn't? Well, eventually he learns how to control himself to the point where he can throw hits 5 times faster and stronger than he should. He's 5 times the average kid his age. This doesn't matter who you are. You would lose to him if you're just a regular human. Except for the heroes. But they're not regular humans, are they? No. Now, issei has one thing. Hold on a sec. Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, issei, he's already, born supernaturally skilled is what it seems like. He's faster than everyone else. He's stronger than everyone else. He's already fast enough that people in, social media already knows about him. He already has multiple accounts on, media sites that say, talking about him. He even has everything he wants. His family's kind of rich because of that, as he's broken multiple world records for his age, with his age group, and even come close to breaking the record for fastest man alive. For the fastest sprint, which is around 26 miles, his is around 30 miles. So, yeah, it's pretty impressive. As he's getting faster and stronger by the day, he trains every day. He even does boxing. Who would think? Well, he's already mastered fighting to the point where he can grab a 100-pound bag and throw it like it's a bag of, it's literally just a little pocket of sand from, a plastic sandwich bag full of sand, and just throw it like it's nothing. That's what it's like for him. He's broken the world record for deadlifting and every other lift there is. He's even been able to move cars with only picking them up. To the point where his family is rich because of his world record breaking feats. But that doesn't go to his head as much as most people think. He's still kind of perverted. Now, he is kind of perverted, but he's also built like a truck, so there's nothing really that can hurt him. Though he isn't stupid either. He's not just a musclehead. He's really smart. To the point where he's got top grades in everything. In gym class, no one even wants to try going against him. He even has weighted clothes like Goku and Rock Lee. That's Goku from Dragon Ball and Rock Lee from Naruto. Most people know that, but just saying. He runs at the speed that most people can see only a blur. To the point where he's getting fast enough that he's actually doubled his previous world record of 30 when he was a little kid to 60. The Guinness Book of World Records just knows him by name. Half the world records were all set by him. His abilities are superhuman, easily. Everyone starts taking note about this kid who's breaking world records. He goes to high school. He's already strong enough, fast enough, and martial art skilled enough. He can stop a guy with a sword and break it out of his hand easily. And he's skilled enough with a sword that he can even take down any of the people in Kendo. That is the sword fighting class, by the way. Now, he has this thing about being kind of a perv, but he still got caught the same way he had in canon about being there. His buddies took off on him. He could have easily outran them, and he already knew they were going to run, but he didn't, because the girls were right behind him, and they knew he's the only one who could run that fast, so he got caught. When he got caught, it was pretty bad for him. He took hits, but he's also got the world's most durable person thing, with being able to get hit by a cannonball and break it. I don't know if that's actually a real thing, I'm just making it up. So he's actually strong, so he was able to take the hits like it was nothing. He even said, "Can we sell this with Magic Kendo?" They said, "Why would we test our luck with that? You're better at Kendo than all of us combined." True. But can we just settle this with Kendo? Fine. As everyone got their swords out, their kendo swords and even threw him one, saying, "You have two choices. Only two. You can either fight all of us at once, or we can just beat on you." Alright, as he threw his weighted clothes off, the same way Goku does in a real fight, and he's blitzing them all in speed, to the point where even Kiba could have trouble keeping up. And the hits are stronger than Konako's by far. He has no magical powers he knows of, mainly because he's not really a magic type, but he is a beast physically. And that's when, out of nowhere, literally nowhere, Kiba wound up joining that group. After they all lost to Issei, and Kiba wound up being it where he can keep up pretty well. Issei even wound up joining that club. He had already joined the club, but he still got caught perving on them, which they all think it was just that if he hadn't been perving, he would have already been dating one of them easily. But he's a little bit of a perv. But he still has the same kind of thing happening. He's skilled, and no one can stop him. And now, I will change the anime quite a bit by this, but it will happen. He unlocked his boosted gear when he was about to die. He doesn't unlock it later, he winds up grabbing the light spear. Now, get back to what we were doing. He walks home that day, and he noticed that there's only one dude in that class that can even challenge him. And that dude barely can keep up until he uses other sword style, like he's done it from old school, like an old school style. He notices this and says, "Hey, you, why don't we have a little training match?" They actually go at each other with full force, even winding up breaking their swords. And then it was straight up just a match on who was going to land a solid hit first. Now, Kiba, he's fast, but he's not as good without a sword, so he was straight up just taking... Issei wasn't landing because of how fast Kiba was, but Kiba wasn't able to land any either, because he was too caught up dodging all Issei's. He was about to throw one hit, Issei dodged it and punched and elbowed him straight to the gut, sending him flying into the wall. Everyone in the classes were impressed, and this wasn't just... I'm going to change things a little bit. This wasn't just in a regular classroom setting, the room setting where they are, the dojo. No, this was a championship thing, where they were sparring for before the fight, the whole thing started, as a warm-up. Every other contestant there was just like, we're gonna have to fight those guys? Those guys are monsters. Who won that fight, though? Because no one could see anything. All they could see was blurs. And they knew Issei had set world records for strongest punch, fastest punch, and all that. So they were impressed anyone was able to dodge that. He even had best shot, when he could throw something and it would hit something instantly. He's got the hand-eye coordination of a sniper scope. Now, he's very skilled with that, but he's not crazy good. But he's still crazy good at everything, so it's kind of... I say he's not crazy good, that means he's not as good as he could be. But he's still great. So, a little bit late, so we get to the whole thing with the fallen angels. In this version, they all jump Issei at once. And he caught the light spear, the first one. Noticing he had a gear, he said, "What's this thing?" Yeah, whatever, and it was on his right arm. I know in this picture it's on his left, but it's going to be on his right. And he has he has two. He has two gears. It's going to be the boosted gear and the silence gear. Well, the stopper gear. It blocks everything. No, never mind. It's going to be another gauntlet gear, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's blue. So it's the blue and red dragons. The white dragon was enemy of the red dragon. The blue dragon was enemies with the black dragon. I'm just making this up. But yeah, they're kind of like forces of nature. There was even a point when the black and the white dragon went against the red and the blue. The red and the blue dragon came out barely. and white and black were almost killed. Now, in this version, it was these 4 dragons. Now, I'm not sure which dragon the black one was. I'm gonna say it was the one that the dude on the committee is the school committee. Yeah, that one guy who's got like 4 pawn pieces. He is the one. Now, Issei still gets injured and stabbed through the gut, but not before taking 2 of them down. 2 out of the 4, so it was pretty impressive. And then he hit the floor like a brick. And then he just thought about Rias as they all took off, injured and everything, thinking they had finally killed him, because he was being way too much of a threat. They knew none of them could have stood a chance on their own, noting that it took all of them to do anything. And even then, they're just leaving him for dead because they're too injured to keep throwing any hits. While Issei was still able to fight. But the only thing that had helped was that they kind of just warped away as fast as they could. And then they had Fried, which Fried was gonna kill Issei, but then noted it's not a demon. He's not summoning no demon. He's fighting like a warrior. Look, I'll get y'all out of here, but I'm not fighting him. Which they accepted because they didn't expect Fried to be able to do anything to him. As in a hand-to-hand, or even with the sword and gun, Issei would still beat the crap out of him, even bleeding out like he was. So they all just took off. And then Issei he's on the ground, bleeding out, thinking of Rias as he had seen her. Because it was the exact same color, as then boom, he's revived, completely healed. As he's stuck, but this time he's strong enough that he's in the gears, both of them, and you hear, technically he's in his soul, but the gears are there too, so it's kind of a thing where it's like, listen, boy, you ought to be the next Red Dragon Emperor, and the next Blue Dragon Emperor. As the red and blue are kind of like, they're not as strong as each other. Like, the red is like a good bit stronger than the blue, but the black is around the same strength as the blue, so yeah. Yeah, well, the kind of lizard one. I would say it's a dragon gear this time. It's a black one. And there's another point to it, where he can have his balance breaker. There's the one with multiple, then there's a full balance breaker where he's just completely covered in black dragon armor like Issei's red. And he can just, and he just, out of his chest is a giant, like, beam that sucks energy out of people. And then can put it into his hand cannons that he has, which I'm giving him that. Or chest cannon and hand sucking things, whatever, your choice. But back to Issei, he's just waking up injured. He feels like he took a bullet to the chest. And his phone, everything deleted, but he had multiple pictures with her, so, and he had actually had this little thing he had done. He had sent pictures away to other people and places, like his buddies, and then he'd said, yo, do you mind doing this for me? And he sent, like, the full thing of pictures to them to get copied, which Issei, by chance, had already ready, which they had ready, and Fallen Angels had no clue about this, as Issei deleted the text, because he didn't want anyone to find out that he had pictures copied. Now, at this point, he's got pictures of everything. Now, Issei knows he's smart enough, so he winds up saying, it was no dream. I remember everything. As when he woke up to Rias, it wasn't as surprised. He was like, okay, you get ready, you get out of here. My parents see you, they're gonna freak. Now let's go. Issei got ready and he said, hold up. She just walks in. His mom just walks in and that whole thing happens. And when he winds up having to go to the same place before, he just walks up real confident. Like, when he walks into school, his 2 friends go to jump him, and they're actually pretty strong too. Like, they both have gears. They're both dragon gears too. Though, the orange dragon, and I'm going to say the purple dragon. the guy with the glasses is the purple dragon. It's a kind of eye thing, where it's like a head, where it's like a helmet with supreme sight, where it can literally glance and see everything about someone, full status and everything. That's why his thing is. And his buddy, his thing is that it's able to be like a battering ram, as it's a chest plate that strengthens him up. He'll cut the enemy's power in half and give it to himself or an ally. But he can only do it once for himself and once for an ally. So he can take it like 5 things away from someone individually and give it to other people, but it has to be individually. So yeah, that's one of his things. Now Issei knows he's stronger than anyone else in the room. Now when his friends jump him, they're actually stronger and faster than most average humans, as his buddies trained with him as little kids, and actually were able to deal a hit to him and knock him back by a good few feet. Now Issei noted. Now Rias notes that these 3 all have gears that are strong enough to rip apart the world if they wanted to. The only people who could stop them were the demons, fallen angels, and the angels. She thinks if those 3 had all gotten together in a fight against someone, then the person would die no matter who it is. Except for the leaders of the factions. And maybe the first, few people. So, yeah, it's like very few who can keep up with this. He's already stronger than Volley. And that is gear to no gear. Like, what Issei with no gear is already stronger than Volley with gear. Now, Issei is quick enough that he can land a hit on anyone, so it's no big deal for him. He trains every day to the point where... Now, him and his buddies actually have different lives from regular as they train every other day. One day he had a date with her. He wasn't going on training. He had that the day after. So this day he had actually trained. He said, I have to go. Now, in this version, they know about his training schedule, and they're fine with that because it makes him strong. But he can actually already make his gear appear without a problem. He asks about it, what is it? And it's like, supposed to be the double gear, but it really isn't. It's actually the dragon gear. And he makes another one appear, similar in the exact look, but does something completely different. The other one takes the whole power thing and just flips it on its head. With the boosting gear boosting, you say, this other one actually isn't a boost to his all physical, it's a mental boost, but it still affects his abilities. Like, the boosting gear allows him to be faster, stronger, see better, feel everything, so it doesn't really mess with his hearing or sight, which are not that as good, as better, as they could be. So his hearing and sight aren't as good. But his speed and everything, it's lightning bolts. With the boosted gear, this one makes everything mentally as fast, but faster. I mean, yes, it basically is another boosted gear. They're called the twin dragon gears, as they're the exact kind of same gear. They're both boosting gears. No one has ever gotten them both at once. 2 people have ever gotten them who were close to each other. They were twin brothers. One got the red, one got the blue. They trained every day, and they were humans who were strong enough to challenge demons, even able to injure a demon quite strong and high-ranked. But then instantly got taken down because that person was the fire kind of thing. Now, Issei knows the whole stories about his gauntlets and everything. But when he goes into Balance Breaker with both of them, what happens is that his gear goes red and blue, putting the colors together into another color completely. I think it's purple, I'm not certain, but no. Actually, it doesn't. It's part of his armor is blue, part of it's red, going from side to side. It's just kind of laid out there, whatever is whatever. Now, Issei is in no way going to be easy to stop if he goes berserk. Like, you would need 4 dragons just to keep him down. Real dragons. Like, real dragon kind of thing. Not gear holders that have dragons. Literally the dragons themselves when they were alive to stop him. So, he has the whole thing, the same exact encounters. Eventually, he's actually... Hold on. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I just had to deal with my nephew. So, Issei, as he's already able to, like, take down anyone, regular human, it's no big deal that he's having to fight this one regular human who's a little more skilled, as he actually is able to throw hits with the best. Not even, like, demons want to fight him. But eventually, the whole thing happens, kind of playing out similar, only Issei just wrecking everyone. Now, in this version, the Fallen Angels don't try to take Asia's gear, as they know it wouldn't work. For Issei's already too strong, and even with the gear, it would do nothing, so they aren't trying to take Asia's gear. They want to take Issei's, but they can't. And they know they can't, so they actually tried making a truce with Issei. They apologized for almost killing him. He was hesitant at first, but he had said, "We would easily be killed by our uppers if they found out we tried killing a human. They're against it. Would you please not tell anyone, and would you please help us?" With what? Well, there's one upper that wants us to kill, and he is the one right above us. If we don't listen to him, he will kill us. Alright. If y'all all got together, we'd instantly get killed. Hold on. Alright, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. My brother was just being rude. So, Issei had said, "Alright, I'll help you, but on one condition. Y'all have to make amends with the demons, and no more fighting." They said, okay, as peace was already trying to be made by the leader of theirs, Azazel. And Issei knows he's the strongest one in that entire area, as in this version, they don't go to fight Issei. They go to try keeping Issei from fighting them, as they don't want smoke with Issei, because he's stronger than they are by far, like 100 times stronger at this point, because he's been training with boosted gear. He's been boosting to the point where he couldn't handle it anymore, and then going beyond that, and then collapsing, waiting, resting, getting back up the next in like an hour, and then doing the exact same thing, both gears, to the point where he was barely even able to, until the point where he was able to handle 2,000 boosts. That's a lot. It makes him, from when he was fighting the fire dude, look like a joke, and even probably the dude who was whatever his name is, the fallen angel. I think his name started with a B. Forgot it. Whatever. He wasn't strong enough to do much, as Issei kind of just wrecked him, and then he got stuck in prison by the white dragon. And Issei's already stronger than the white dragon, so it wouldn't really cause much damage to him. And Issei walks back in with all of them in tow, all the fallen angels. And Rias asks, "What are they doing here?" Issei said, "They're with me. They're going to be part of my group." As he has his own chessboard now. As he walks, he said, "You have to become a full-on demon king before you can do that." Oh, really? To be a king, I have to be able to, be stronger than the king of my own group? As his power started to go overwhelming Rias's, even with her showing her strength, it was nowhere near enough, as instantly no one was doing anything. They quickly shut their mouth. And at that point, Rias notes that Issei is way too strong to be stopped. And Issei saying he wants to do something means he's gonna do it. Now, Asuna, I think is her name. Azia, whatever. Wound up still joining the demons, joining Issei. Now, only little issue with that is that Issei's a beast. And when he walks into a fight, whoever he's against probably ain't walking out. Now, he learned how to control that by just being really, really good at fighting and controlling his strength. But then, as everyone said, as he said, "Call him over at that point in time. We can handle it." As they call whatever his name is, that strong fallen angel, over to fight, but they had also called Azazel over. Now, Azazel said he wasn't going to be able to make it, but if they're really going that intent on stopping him from betraying, then even enough to join the demons, he's fine. He's fine with them working with the demons. He's fine with them obeying Issei. In fact, he really is a fan of Issei's. As he's noted the power of Issei. All it takes is a quick Google search and they would already have found who Issei is, where he lived, what he does. Like, he's world record holder of almost every world record. Like, he makes the Guinness Book of World Records kind of his book. It's basically his autobiography. It's basically a book about him at this point, which he's even able to break all the ones he set at this point without using his gear. And at this point he said, am I still going to be able to set my records? Yeah, you should be fine with that as long as you're not using your gears. Alright, makes sense. Alright, now how about weighted? Now, Issei already wears weighted clothes that are over 300 pounds. His entire thing weighs around 10,000 pounds. Not 10,000, regular, basically 1,500. 1,500 pounds, which is 1,500 pounds. That's how much his stuff weighs, just his clothes. He doesn't have hangers for it. What he does is he has to have it he has a special hanger for him. Each thing has a special hanger, which is made of pure titanium. Strongest material that he could get. I mean, he could get diamond, but it was too expensive to do, so he just wound up not doing that. And his family doesn't live in a mansion. They live in the same house, because it's a family house. But they have a lot of money. Like, a lot of money. And at this point, Issei's just living good. He's now got basically a harem of fallen angels and demons after a point in time. And in this version, they're given a week. He has to have the same thing because Reyes has so little and has less experience in the game. Issei just said, hey, how about this? We get the fallen angels, my fallen angels, to join us. It evens out the playing board, doesn't it? In this version, Issei walks in with the fallen angels already in his class. They join his class and everything. The guy becomes a teacher. And all the girls become, members of the class. Not the guy doesn't become a teacher, no. He's going to become a member of the class as he's going to, de-age a little bit to where he's, a high school student again. But Issei's already wrecking everyone he wants. He can dodge a hit and then land every one of them. And he's already training with everyone, when they have the same thing happening where they have to train for 10 days as well. Now, Issei said, okay. Now, and this version is actually going to be a full 2 weeks. As Issei, he's not using his gears, but he actually found out about Kiba's sword birth and actually training with Kiba. He found out about Konoko's cat form because her tail and ears wound up popping out whenever she got mad because Issei was absolutely wrecking her physical strength. In this version, Issei's not holding the smallest bag. He's holding a bag 5 times bigger and 20 times heavier than one Konoko was holding. And when he says it's a feather, Konoko said, I couldn't even move that one. You say it's a feather? I call bull. She goes to lift it and can't even move it. Issei picks up hers and says, okay, yours for you if you want. She's mad, but she doesn't want to do anything, so she winds up saying, okay. And she finally met her match. The beast of Issei. Now, the dragon is already fighting everything. He's able to take on everyone, including Akeno and Rias at once. The Fallen Angels train with him, but he wound up not being approved to have the Fallen Angels on his team, so he's like, okay, fine. But he still has them training with him. To the point where he's training in a every 1v1. And Asuna is actually the one healing everyone. So the only one who's actually taking any hits is Issei. But he's still winning the fight, and he wound up beating everyone. Even going up to Asuya and then tapping her head saying, I could have killed you instantly, so here. As he's able to kill any of them instantly. He's already stronger and faster than any of the kings. He even could take on Cyber Org in this point. Now he wound up getting into and he still has this whole thing. In this version, instead of getting hurt by that staff, he straight up just takes it and breaks it against him. It breaks against his skin. And he punches the phoenix right in his face. And you see the flames as it actually damaged him. And it heals him, saying, "You think you're strong?" And even that's when the Ultimate Queen stepped up and had to blow out, end up blocking Issei's hit and easily just stopping the fire dude. Ship just went, knocking him away, and then put everything into blocking Issei's hit, which took everything. If you think Issei's lightweight, you're wrong. He's already stronger than his canon counterpart in Season 5. I'm not sure how strong he is since I wasn't watching Season 5, but yeah, he's that strong. Alright, so Issei actually winds up dying. They wound up doing the same rating game, and Issei actually says this, "Hey," as the fallen angels are there streaming it, kind of helping stream it to the whole thing, like it's no problem for them. And demons, fallen angels, even angels are all watching this, completely surprised about it. The only one who isn't in utter shock about how this is happening is the guy who trained Issei. That would be the dragons themselves, as they already know Issei can handle their full power. And now is both of theirs at once. That's like twice Drake, as I said Drake is like twice as strong as the blue dragon, but he really wasn't. It was just that his skill was twice as good, because his was every 2 seconds it was gonna boost, or every 10 seconds, I wasn't certain. So in this version it's gonna be every 5 seconds, and the dude is actually every 10 seconds. So it's actually gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be boost, 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 because it's just instantly hearing boost as he starts them off at different times. Now, he's trained with both gears to the point where, but they can both happen every 2 seconds. So it's boost, stop, boost. So he winds up putting them in a certain order: red, blue, red, blue, keeping on going in that pattern. That's just hearing boost, 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 like his regular boost, but like his crazy boost whenever he goes like that. But that's his every boost, and he's already able to handle his full dragon power. And the boosting is just nothing to him. Now, they wind up doing the whole battle thing, but in this version he says, "Hey, gonna go. You go with Kiba. Y'all fight. It'll be better off for y'all anyway." As he winds up taking on the Rook and the 3 pawns, I think? Or was it 2? I'm gonna go with 2 pawns. The twins and then the Rook. As he cracks his neck saying, "Okay." He winds up throwing his kind of weighted clothes. He hadn't had any weighted clothes on. His red shirt, the one he's iconically wearing, actually weighs a good 1,000 pounds by now. His leg weights, which are actually his shoes, already weigh a few thousand pounds. Everything he has weighs multiple thousands of pounds, and no one else tries it. Now, Issei actually had an idea. "Hey, could y'all turn like them into power monsters like us?" As you hear yes, as he winds up having even his friends wind up turning into powerhouses, but they don't turn into like what Issei is, a demon. One of them turns into a fallen. The other one, I wasn't certain, so I'm gonna make him a fallen too, but I wasn't certain. Yeah, they both turn into fallen angels, and then you just hear, "Hey." As it wasn't really them turning into fallen angels, they actually turned into angels, but they're all worth 8 pawns. Issei's actually worth a full-on thing. The king would have to give up every other one they had to get Issei, but the pawn thing is what allows it to happen. As it's like Issei has everything into queens at all times, but that's the only way it works. Like, without the whole everything into queens, he would be out of it. Like, but he has to have it like all 4 of them set to queen at all times, and the other ones are kind of useless then. So the other 2 both take 2 each. Both had to be set to queens instantly though, so they're pawns, but they have the force of queens already. Like, they're part of the group, but they can barely handle it. Like, Reese had to train for Issei's full, like, there's a way to go into your soul. Issei had to train with her they had to all train in the soul, and that was the only way she was able to handle having them on her team. As in this version, it's 2 people assigned to one piece. Actually, in this version, it's going to be 3, no, it's not going to be 3. Well, they aren't part of the team yet, but they will be. So, you have the whole thing about them being fallen angels now, and Issei's surprised, but he's not too crazy about it, because he's a demon, so it's like, whatever. As he finishes the fight, where it's just like 1v3. Well, 2v3, it's the bomb chick, the bomb queen, Issei, Azia, and Rias. The reason it went like this is that everyone else is still just barely, they got stronger, yes, but they're not way too strong. So in this version, it was actually the bomb queen pulling work to deal this much damage. And it took both of the tiers to do this. That's the only way the queen was able to do it. So she was able to instantly, like, beat down on Akano the whole way, and Konako the same way, and then even Kiba, to the point where it was actually just now. The only reason that Issei wasn't taking her down is because he couldn't. Because every time he would jump up to get her, she would launch throw a bomb in his face, and he gets him back down to the ground. So he just said, I'll have to brute force through. Now, usually you'd think, hey, he needs strategy to stop the whole thing. He's like, nah, I'm just gonna brute force my way completely through explosions. As he gets both his gears on, and they both all the way go down to his shoulders. All the way up to his shoulders. Because that's kind of how the thing works, is that it can actually make, like, whichever one is upgraded more, it gets more. It'll get bigger and cover more body from when it's first unlocked. So, it already goes up, both of them already go up to his shoulders. And he's able to throw one punch and shatter a chest. Shatter the gears. Shatter any other weapons. But right before Kiba was taken down, he made something for Issei. He made a dragon sword. Which was literally like, handle was like dragon, everything was dragon about it. It was like dragon's power behind it. There was a red and a blue. He threw both of them to Issei. That was the only way he could have done it. Being that he had to throw both of them to Issei, though, he was taken down right then. And when Issei caught the swords, he said, okay. Blasting forward, even able to take down the queen, barely by brute forcing his way and shattering both blades. He said, sorry, Kiba, you're gonna need more blades later. As he actually wanted to get into a fighting stance against Riser, as he said, yo, run! As Riser said, they're not going anyways. Issei wound up making a warping kind of thing, where he kind of grabbed both of them and took off, saying, hey, y'all stay here. It was back to their entire ground. Riser saying, where'd you go? As Issei just swings his foot, kicking Riser in the head. Would have shattered anything's neck, but he got back up. Completely surprised that it hadn't killed him. No matter that it was just straight up berserk to berserk. As, well, his body should be immortal, it took time for it to heal. It wasn't an instant heal. Took the flames to come up and heal. So Issei just straight up just went, and it took stamina to heal. So Issei just kept on going and going and going, until Riser was completely out of juice. And he just knew, because he still felt the pain that was being inflicted onto him. So he just went, repetitive hit after repetitive hit. After this, Issei straight up seems completely like a monster to Riser, as he sees 2 dragons behind Issei, as if they're materializing behind him. As he grabs Riser and crushes him beneath his boot, launching a giant double dragon shot as a monster among everything. At this point, Issei is completely, he's still not even challenged, as he had to take out everyone. He's taken down almost everything. He just feels bored, and he thinks no one will be able to challenge him. But that's not true. There's still the demon, the whole kings, and the Great Red and all that. That's the only people who can challenge him, though. And they're stronger than him by like a little bit. Not even that much. So the whole series kind of plays out as issei just one-shotting everything they're against. And at this point, it's just character building, training, and all that. And then you have the fight against Loki. I know I'm skipping a lot of stuff, but that's because it'll just get... issei just instantly wrecks everyone. To the point where he's just stuck waiting. He actually becomes a king. Right before that, he had to beat Cyra Org. He says, "Hey, Cyra Org, we're supposed to match. We're supposed to battle up." Cyra Org even going into the whole gear. issei, without even using his gear, was able to catch the whole lion thing and just straight up slaps him around. Can just slap him around like it's nothing. But then he said, "As a sign of respect, I will give you everything I have," and he throws his ultimate hit. So, his ultimate hit wound up just one-punching Cyra Org and almost killed him. And he even revived Cyra Org's mother with the same kind of power, because he's still kind of a perv, so he made the same exact ones. So, he's basically a beast, though, so everything's fine. Hold on a second, guys. I have to deal with my nephew. Alright, so issei finishes the job and instantly wrecks everyone. And then he became a king, and he turned the fallen angels into his own pawns. In this version, he's actually got fallen angel, and demon. All the pieces line up with him. He's got cards, he's got everything. He's got cards, he's got pawns. I'm not sure what the fallen angels have, but yeah, probably cards. But then he just has the whole thing, and he just waits there, waiting on someone to challenge him, because no one can. He's still waiting on someone to challenge him. No one can. And to the point where he's just straight up just waiting for someone to fight him. As he's actually been able to take down Dragon, the Great Red, everyone has been able to fall to his hands. He even is now the king of all. The ultimate king. The one who makes even Great Red bow at his feet. But the Great Red chooses to bow. He couldn't beat issei, but he chooses to bow to him. And to the point where issei is the only one. There's no one like him. He has kids. Hold on a second, guys. Alright, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that, but my nephew was being kind of a pain. So, he wound up going to... So, issei wound up being the strongest and actually having to train. His training is having everyone in the multiverse fighting him. Everyone who wants to fight fights him. And he actually has a tournament for the strongest demon. Well, for the strongest to fight. Anyone can enter the tournament. Thousands, trillions can enter the tournament. But the only one who would probably beat issei, the only one who could probably handle issei in a fight is, I'm gonna say, Great Red's human form. Yeah. Issei's gotten to the point where he doesn't even need his gear to beat everyone. Like, he can go gearless and still beat everyone. He's gotten to the point where his strength is unmatched. So he just sits there as the king forever, until he'll die eventually, of age, because demons don't live forever. Almost forever, but not forever. As everyone bows to issei. But then, something happened. He met someone who was supposed to be dead long ago. God himself. Hadn't died, because he made everything. He's not going to go out easy. So God and issei talk about their powers, and issei said, "Why don't you take over for me if you beat me?" God, knowing he could win, and saying, "Alright." As issei wound up losing on purpose, so he could just not be king anymore. But he still said, "If something happens and you're trying to be unfair, I happen." As his full power awakens and even overwhelms God. As he's got the God gear. With actually something that happens when you're the strongest. Your gear becomes the God gear. The God gear is the gear that is just God that's literally God. The power of God. Creation and destruction. Issei can just stand there and take every hit. Like it's nothing to him. When he fully powers up. But God said, "I will never favor anyone, my child," as Issei can die in peace. As he realized he wasn't just dying of old age, he got up afterwards, having full memory of his past life. As he said, as he was spoken with kind of this being, saying, "Everyone goes through it every time. No changes seem to ever be made except for this time, boy. You trained your whole life, 'cause your death of your last. You died last time you lived, with thousands upon thousands of memories of everyone's full lives. Everyone's lived trillions of times until the end of time, as it's happened trillions of times. Into time, coming back. Into time, coming back." Issei just sits there saying, "So these were all my past lives. I was so weak. Yes, but you're going to live another, whether your choice or not." As you hear, "Maybe this time I'll have a little fun, but I must erase your memory." Alright. As his memory gets wiped, Issei is born as Issei Hyodo, a little baby. And then the series happens all over again. He just happens eternally forever as he gets stronger to the point where and even sometimes he leads everything. He is the ultimate being. Even to the point where he took over after his one death, saying, "I'll take over that job for you so you can relax and go back to living your life. Thank you," as he collapses into a mortal man. And boom, eternally, Issei wound up being the god of time, the god of all, forever. As that's how it ends. He's infinitely stronger than anyone. Like, if I'm going by Dragon Ball standards, I'd say he can keep up with the Grand Priest and Omni King, as well as Goku, Grand Priest Goku. All three jumping him, he could handle them and just win the fight. So that's all. Bye, guys.